Alright, you guys, this isn't an easy video to do, but I pride myself in being very direct and honest, and so it's an important video to do. But before I get into it, I want to preface it by saying my husband and I, we are still sober, miraculously, and this is very hard to talk about because I also pride myself in being a very good parent, and obviously my husband is as well, but there's a lot of, I know I'm always talking about breaking the stigmas in other areas, but this one is really hard for me to talk about because I know there's such a heavy stigma surrounding, addiction, any type of, substance use, whatever. All right, so a lot of you always comment on, the marriage my husband and I have, and I do agree that like the connection we have is very rare, and I do feel that a lot of people spend a good portion of their lives trying to find something similar. But we're not perfect, and I always also talk about how when I met him, like he heavy drinker isn't even the term. It's just not. But my husband's an alcoholic. Like I said, he's still sober. However, him and I have been what they call white knuckling it for like the past few years that we've been together. And what that means, it basically means like, staying sober, not picking up your substance of choice, but without a program, without like, a support system directly related to your sobriety. And as they say, it worked until it didn't work. And we ended up like, having a lot of issues come up that surrounded, when he was drinking heavily. And so I gave him an ultimatum. I'm like, you need to go to an AA meeting, which he is just against. And he's against it because he's very secular, which means he's not very religious. He's always been like, uncomfortable around like faith-based stuff, which as trans men, like I get why, like, you know what I mean? Like I get why sometimes like, religious stuff can be uncomfortable. But he went, he was determined to find one, and he found one. He had to have me, go with him, like, in the car. I couldn't go in, because I had to watch our son, but he was very scared, as a lot of people are before their first meeting. But he did it. He went in and he did it, and I expected him to run out, like, 5 minutes in. I'm like, he's gonna come running out. But he sat through the whole thing, and I've never seen my husband have a revelation like that. Like, he was really shooken up because I mean, I won't get into it too much because, like, I know it's his story. And by the way, I asked before I say this stuff. But it was just very profound for him. And the thing is like when I was hounding on my husband about like, you need to have more accountability. You need to be more honest with yourself. As I was saying those things, and as he did start to be more honest with me about like his recovery and things like that, I started like seeing so many parallels that I was ignoring before about my own journey, and so many things that I was being dishonest with myself about. So once again, I feel like I have to reiterate because I'm just so nervous talking about this, but we are sober. When I'm on here, I talk a lot about how I considered myself sober for 10 years. That is not true. I believed it even to be true, or did I just convince myself? I don't know, but it's not true. I haven't illegally obtained substances in 10 years, but really it's only been 3 years as far as like being completely clean, if I'm being honest with myself, and I didn't even like recognize that until I started in on my husband. You'll see me in videos and like I don't mean to laugh, but it's so funny like now that I'm on the outside looking in, and there's a voice in my head saying don't do this video. Not a real voice, but like figuratively, you know what I mean, saying don't do this video, because if you do a video and you admit and you say I'm an addict, then you're gonna potentially cut yourself off from any way to ever obtain substances in the future if you need them. Now, I don't have any plans to, but it's just like a thing that's constantly in my head. Like, don't admit there's a problem, because if there's a problem, they can use it against you, and it might get in the way of obtaining stuff in the future. But that's why I have to do this video. I have literally done videos, and like, I know it's like, even in the moment, I was like, I sound so fucking dumb. Like, I would do videos though, and I would literally say like, well, I don't consider myself an addict because, I only used when I was really struggling mentally, and when I transitioned, that desire went away. It's like, that's self-medicating right there. Or I'd say, people would be like, well, what was your drug of choice? Well, my drug of choice was benzos, but I wasn't really an addict. Or I'll say, like, I'll show pictures of me, like, back when I was really heavy in it. I did have a bad eating disorder as well, but I would, like, show pictures and be like, this is when I was not sober, instead of actually saying this is me when I was using. And it's like, come on. Like, I can't believe, like, come on. And actually, like, I don't mean to laugh at this either, but it is kind of funny, like, when you realize how stupid you've been, you know what I mean? But my husband, when he's been, like, trying to be very honest and open with me, and one thing he said was, he was like, you know, there were times when I literally thought about digging holes in the backyard and burying bottles of alcohol so that I would have access to them just in case something happened and I needed them. And that was one of the moments that was eye-opening for me, because the last time I was prescribed a benzo was in 2019 during my detransition. I talk about how that was like one of the hardest things I've been through. And once the discomfort, it was like I was crawling out of my skin. And once I felt that discomfort and didn't know how to immediately handle it, I was like, my first thought was, I need to get a script for benzos. I need to. And I did. And if the first doctor didn't give it to me, I would have found a way to get them. But I got them from the first doctor. And then I met my husband shortly after that. And we both kind of found solace in each other. Like, you know, very shortly after that, both of us abstained from anything, legally or illegally. But I found that instant comfort in him. And, you know, I know that's not enough. I know I need a program too. Which I was also. I would go in and out of, by the way. I would go in and out of AA. But no, not an addict. Don't have a problem. Just chilling. But the reason why I related to him so much is because I still had that bottle. I would find, like, because I had them left over from when I stopped, you know, and I would always keep it just in case I needed it, just in case. I keep it locked away, hidden, just in case. In fact, I remember around that time in 2019 where I sought out a prescription, a physician did write drug-seeking behavior. I did a video on it here when I found it. I was so pissed. And like, I was bullshit. Like, I tried so hard to get it removed from my record because I didn't want that on my record, because it put a dent in if I ever wanted to access them again. My husband and I are back in the program. We're going to meetings, and I just want to tell you in case you see us. No, and also I want to be honest. Since my husband and I have been knuckling it together with no program for so long but staying sober, we decided that what we're going to do is we're going to pick a date after we know we were both sober, and it'll be both of our sobriety dates, and we're going to continue, you know, going to meetings and staying with the program. And honestly, this has been amazing for our marriage already. But yeah, I'm glad that I could get that off my chest. I am an addict. He came to see me.